be good.
All right, I guess we got just about everybody in place. Waiting on the clerk. All right. Welcome everyone to Town Council meeting of Bowling Green here on Thursday, April 6th, 2023. We do have a quorum. We are now in session. If I can have everybody stand and help me with pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have, first on the agenda is public hearing. Do we have anybody out there? I'm seeing no one. Public hearing is closed. We have delegations, public comments. I see member comments is back up at the top. Do we have any members that would like to make any comments?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to. There's a lot of concern with the businesses downtown in Bowling Green that parking spaces on the street are being blocked by employees of the businesses when most of them have parking behind a store. There's nothing saying, I talked to Justin about it, and there's nothing saying that we can make a move other than go and ask them kindly, but when you have 5 to 6 cars from employees on Main Street parking, and they park in front of my store, they park in front of everybody's store, it's not just me that's addressing this, but, I mean, I hear it from a lot of people, and it's just, there's not enough parking anymore as it was, and people complain all the time that they have no place to park when they're going to these businesses. Now, if they're going in and buying something, that's one thing, but, I mean, the employees, they do it every day. And it's just, I'm hearing a lot about it, and people are complaining about it. So I don't know if we can adopt some type of a resolution down the road, saying, you know, that if you're gonna have a business, you park behind your business where the parking's allowed. Or what we could do to eliminate this problem, because it does tie up parking spaces that people are trying to come into our businesses to buy, and we're always trying to help the businesses in town, but this is a problem, and I think we need to address it at one point.
All right. Mull it over with Allison. I know we have a 2-hour parking policy that has not been enforced in the past few years. Because I know we got one member that has a business, and you see him have to move his car every time we turn around because he parks out front no matter what. But that's something that, you know, we can look at. I'll get with Allison and see what we can come up with or something. Anybody else, members?
Just a quickie. So I'm wondering, and maybe Mr. Rod can assist with this. So last month we didn't have our meeting, and I'm wondering if when we have to cancel a meeting, can they automatically be rescheduled to the following Thursday? Is there something we can put in our bylaws that says this is an automatic procedure so we do not miss the meeting?
That is something that we can do. I'd be happy to prepare that.
I just got a couple of things. I've been getting a lot of phone calls about low water pressure in the town, so I just wanted to bring that up. And then also wanted to again thank the chief on his involvement on behalf of the town. I know the county has been extremely busy on the fire and rescue side and law enforcement, so they can work together to handle a lot of calls.
Jeff, your turn.
Okay. Really, Valerie, I didn't want to steal it from you. Can you speak about the love sign?
A love sign was installed, thank you. It's out there, I think it looks great. I think Angie Smith and Lisa Gaddy, Alton, did a phenomenal job, and Mr. Gaines of putting it all together. But most importantly, the people that submitted, there were 21 submissions, did an incredible job. and our final local artist who put everything together. So I really appreciate all the help that was given from everyone in town to participate in getting our sign out there. So an odd question, since you brought this up, Ms. Rod. So I'd like to have our sign trademarked. Is that possible? Because I like any benefit that the love sign gives to come to the town, i.e. someone wants to put it on a shirt, I'd like us to have that benefit and not something else. Great. Terrific. Thank you.
Is that a consensus from council first?
I don't know.
What do you all say?
How would we do that?
All in favor, raise your right hand if you
We'll
want to
just do the
agree with
paperwork.
it. Any consensus? I got 3, 4, I got 5, yeah, we have consensus.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Gentlemen, you all will come here for public comment or what?
We just listen.
Okay, all right.
We just listen.
All right. Staff reports and presentations. We have one presentation on the IGSA partnership between the town and Fort A.P. Hill. And we have 2 representatives here, Diane and Paul. Diane Smith and Paul, I forget your last.
John.
John, I mean, excuse me.
That's okay.
I called you right earlier and then I switched it.
That's all right.
Good evening.
You turn that mic on.
So good evening. My name is Diane Smith. I'm representing Fort A.P. Hill. On behalf of Colonel Duffy, I'd like to thank all of you for the opportunity to be here tonight to talk about intergovernmental service agreements, to explore them with the town of Bowling Green. With me, I have John Broughton, who will provide a presentation to you tonight.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. As Diane mentioned, my name is John Broughton. I am a resident of Cameron County and also a consultant to DOD, particularly in the Navy, and have been working with Ms. Smith and Colonel Duffy and the staff at Fort A.P. Hill for almost a year now on trying to identify some partnership opportunities between Fort A.P. Hill and the surrounding communities. My role as a DoD contractor is led primarily by legislative authority, 10 U.S.C. 2679, called the Intergovernmental Support Agreement. That was approved by Congress back in FY 2013. Essentially what this authority does, it allows DoD and all military installations to enter into public partnerships with public partners, Town of Bowling Green, Caroline County, King George County, and as well as the state of Virginia, Commonwealth of Virginia. So as we've been working with the garrison and his staff, we've identified a number of potential partnership opportunities, and one of them in particular with the town of Bowling Green is we've explored some opportunities where Fort A.P. Hill would like to leverage some of the contracts that the town of Bowling Green has in place for a variety of support services, mainly based on our conversations with the town of Bowling Green, focus on general maintenance, preventive maintenance, and just simple type general contract performance maintenance services. And as a result of by entering into a partnership agreement, what we do is this provides a revenue stream to the town of Bowling Green. So many times Fort A.P. Hill gets hung up with contracting actions for a requirement that needs to take place that could take 2, 3, 4, 6 months just to get a contract in place because of the bureaucratic red tape that exists at the federal government level. And this is an easy way of being able to access some existing contracts at the local level by keeping those dollars local. By leveraging local contractors within the town as well as the county and the surrounding area. And one of the things that we also look at to ensure that there is a mutual benefit for the town of Bowling Green is looking at incorporating an administrative fee. Usually, most of our partners that are part of this program add about a 10% admin fee for the handling and oversight of the partnership. Because DoD can't work directly with the private vendor who's doing the job and pay the vendor directly. It has to go through a public entity such as the town of Bowling Green. So as I mentioned, we've identified a number of potential partnership opportunities. We've reached out to Caroline County. We're still in the exploratory phase of some opportunities. Diane and I presented last month at the King George County Board of Supervisors, and we are actually looking at formalizing a partnership with King George County as well. So the opportunity is here, and we'd like to see if there's an opportunity among the council members and the mayor here to explore approval of entering into an intergovernmental support agreement. You have a couple handouts in front of you. One is just a slide deck that provides a general overview about the IGSA program. Across DoD and specifically in the Army, the company I work for, we've helped execute over 120 of these IGSAs across the country. And in addition to the Army, our company also supports the Air Force and the Navy. So DoD-wide, we have executed about 150 of these intergovernmental service agreements across the country. And DoD itself is generating about $40 million in annual savings as a result of these partnerships that are occurring. And there are additional community benefits that are equally being benefited from this partnership as well. And the other document I have that you have in front of you is what we call a concept packet. That is an Army document that helps frame the structure of what the partnership would entail. And that document we sent down to Installation Management Command down in San Antonio, Texas, who oversee the IGSA program on behalf of the Army. So it just gives you a snapshot of what we're looking to do with the town of Bowling Green, and seeking your approval to proceed. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So, in your conversations with King George County, was that for Galvin or was that for APL as well?
For APL, sir.
So, give me an example of another locality that's doing this and like what they're helping that installation do.
Well, I'm in addition to Fort A.P. Hill, I am also supporting the same exact partnership program in Fort Lee, just down the road, about an hour from here. And we are in the process of developing IGSAs for stray animal control with Dinwiddie County and Prince George County. And then we're also looking at a refuge and recycling IGSA with Central Virginia Waste Management Authority. And we are actually exploring an IGSA with the City of Richmond for the City of Richmond's composting program to take away all of the food waste that Fort Lee generates at their dumping facilities. So we're looking at 4 IGSAs at Fort Lee. I also support the Navy, and I do a lot of work down in Hampton Roads. And last year we helped execute a IGSA between Naval Station Norfolk and the City of Norfolk for road paving, maintenance and repair, as well as stormwater management services.
Mr. Mayor, all right, okay. I was there in King George when you put on that presentation. Good job at that time as well. I like this packet, by the way. I didn't have that over there. It's pretty cool. I want to go off the point that David said a minute ago, but I do want to kind of get ahead of there was one little point of confusion in King George that I want to kind of fix before we go down that path here.
Sure, yes, sir.
The very last, what could have been a slide, the last page on the first document where it says recommendations received with mutually beneficial partnership, they're looking for a consensus to continue working with our staff to come up with everything for this plan. We don't need to enter into any contract tonight. I just want to make that particularly clear. This, where I was before, they kind of read it a little bit differently, so I just wanted to add that off if possible.
Thank you for that point of clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, so that said, I think maybe what well, maybe that was what he meant, but if it wasn't what he meant, what they might have been looking for was a more of a day-to-day example of how things work. So like, you know, like you entered into road and maintenance, I guess they go over in the other place, but how does that work in a day-to-day? I think was maybe what he was getting at.
Okay, yeah, sure. So keep in mind that this would not be a day-to-day type responsibility on the town of Bowling Green. So if Fort E.P. Hill was looking to have some HVAC repairs made, Ms. Smith and her staff would issue a task order to the town of Bowling Green to see if this is a service that could be provided through one of the town of Bowling Green's contractors. If so, then that task order, we would ask the town of Bowling Green to forward that task order to the vendor to look at and to provide a cost estimate. And if the funding is there, and keep in mind that no task order would be issued from Fort E.P. Hill unless there is appropriated funds allowing the garrison to do a project. So there is guaranteed funding at the garrison level to execute a project. So it's guaranteed funding that would be then hopefully passed on to the town of Bowling Green to do the project. So from there is no real day-to-day activity that we're asking the town of Bowling Green. It's really just that to help serve as that liaison between the garrison and the contractor at a point where the garrison would need a project fund.
So is this thing designed to just speed up the process, the
Yeah.
slow process, or is it to save money?
Speed up the process, but also save money on the Army side. Yes.
Now, you said, not day-to-day, which is, you know, you're right about that. But there could be contract or work orders that come through for like, building inspections, which can be a day-to-day work requirement for whoever, you know, we have to do it. Air conditioning, services once, twice a year. There's so many that they have out there, we'd have to have somebody who's in there every day or every other day doing all this. So there can be steady revenue coming in, it just depends on what it is. So I mean, you know, I just want to make that clear. It's not, like he said, it's not the day-to-day where they call us every day for stuff. But it is on the line of, well, this job here that we need done may take you one person or two persons 6 or 7 months to do it. So, go ahead.
So is this brand new, or is it being done, can you give me an example of anywhere where it's being done and what the locality does? I know you were talking with road, you know, all these places, but is it brand new, or is it being done somewhere else?
Is the program brand new?
Yeah.
No, this program's been in place for 10 years.
And so where else, give me an example of a town in Kentucky that's doing it with a fort, I mean, what they do.
Sure, Fort Campbell in Kentucky, they have a number of IGSAs.
You don't have to be Kentucky, but.
Yeah, well, Fort Polk, Louisiana,
Okay.
they have several IGSAs with their surrounding county. For example, the town of Rose Pine, they have an IGSA with Fort Polk, where the town of Rose Pine, they are performing custodial services at the installation. And as a result of securing that, as a result of the town of Rose Pine performing that service, they were able to hire 30 people to perform the custodial services on the garrison. So it not only created revenue, but it created jobs for the town of Rose Pine.
So those people that are doing custodial work on the post
At Fort Polk, yes.
are employees of the town
Yes, sir.
and have benefits to the town.
Yes, sir.
And then that money's passed directly onto the government plus a percentage on the top. So-
Correct. Yes, sir.
And that saves y'all money.
Yes, it does.
Got a couple questions there. So is there a, like, directive that the government is looking to enter into these contractual agreements instead of hiring staff internally? So what happens to the employees that are providing HVAC or buildings and grounds maintenance work or grass cutting?
The IGSA authority does not allow you to eliminate a government function job. So it precludes, the IGSA cannot eliminate a government job.
Okay.
So this is supplemental services that cannot be fulfilled with their current staff. And some of these are already contracted out as well.
Okay, I'm just kind of trying to grasp it as a former employee there, like I understand how the inner workings of the departments there, specifically close to us, work. So like if they were to cut, I guess, do a grass cutting contract, how would, if we didn't have the staff, does that pay for everything that an employee has here, like health benefits, retirement, everything through that process?
So in the example, like in the concept packet, based on the cost estimate that we received from Town of Bowling Green, if, say, for example, a Town of Bowling Green wanted to perform ground maintenance utilizing either in-house staff or contract, yes, the cost estimate that we receive, it would be under, we would make the assumption that those benefits would be covered under that overall cost estimate, yes.
So I
The
guess,
goal is to get at a reduced price of what is currently being paid through another contract.
what's the stability in that? Because I've seen where contract employees directly servicing DOD installations have, you know, sometimes they're stable, sometimes they're unstable. So would that same, I guess, situation happen when, for example, the custodial service, that you said that one installation in Louisiana is doing? So if all of a sudden that stopped or the funding was not appropriated, the locality is left to,
But you have certain services that are guaranteed funding.
For-
Trash and recycling, custodial, grounds maintenance, and Guyana, there are some others that you could think of. But there are services that are appropriated year after year. That is a functional, mission essential service, such as grounds maintenance, custodial, trash and recycling. So those are guaranteed funding that is appropriated every year.
okay.
And I know I've been at these meetings, I've, learned a lot, so I'm gonna interview with you sometimes. There's a limit, because what you were saying about the employees there, Arthur, they're not gonna do away with those because they do the day-to-day essentials and inspections. It's when it gets above, what, $2,500 that it has to go up, or is it 5,000?
Yes, if something breaks, for example, like, their HVAC system in a building, if that breaks down, the Public Works Office out at 40 P Hill, they have to issue anything over $2,500, they have to issue a contract. So this helps eliminate a lot of that red tape and the process that could be very cumbersome and time consuming. And it could take 30, 60, 90 days for DOD to issue a contract. And that contract could go to someone that is based out of California, and that company subs it out to someone locally. So in that, and think of how much that money just continues to go out of state.
That's why we keep it secondary.
Yes.
So, this might be a question for Diane too. So is this currently going on over there now? So like the University of Denver or University of Colorado, is this the same thing?
It is an intergovernmental service agreement. It's different, but it is the same.
Very similar, it's
Very
very
similar.
similar, yeah.
How in the world did that relationship get hooked up? I mean, University of, what is it, Colorado?
Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Colorado Extension Service that's performing some environmental services to the garrison.
But
And
it's-
we are actually we talked about that, we're looking to replace that cooperative agreement by using the IGSA authority. So, and actually, you do have an existing IGSA with Virginia Tech.
So it's, okay, good. It's, so that relationship, which I don't really understand, is it's a state college, is that right, in Colorado? But they operate like a private company, right? They're making money and, I mean, it's not a wash, right? It's not a,
I can't speak to it.
But
I'm
this-
sorry.
that's kind of similar to what this is.
They are making money, yes, and we have found that when we've done the cost analysis, they are charging a very high fee to do this service, much like the Corps of Engineer does.
gotcha.
So we're hoping by doing these IGSAs at a more local level, you're also eliminating those absorbent fees that are being charged to the government.
So in the meetings that I know the mayor has attended, maybe some others, has there been a list of out the different areas you're looking for, like HVAC or sand and custodial?
Yes,
There is?
yes, we've explored a list with the mayor.
I see one of those is from the State University of Colorado. They've got so many hundreds of acres that needs to be bush hogged, acreage that needs to be grass cutting. And they provide that, so they're looking at possibly doing away with them doing that and trying to get somebody around here like us to provide or whoever. But the part they don't want to give up is the ones where they're going through and clear, forestry mulching. They don't want that, they're talking about that staying with them. Water, that's, American Water's got that, and they've got 50-year contract with another 30 years left on that, so that's not in the, in the window. But they do have quite a bit that is available, to, for potentially to make good money for the town and to be done in a way that we don't per se have to have contractors on hand, our contractors, but we can do it through a general contractor, who then we send the work to, and then they send the people out to do the work. We just have to have somebody to track it, to build the government, to make the call, or send the paperwork out to a contractor to get the work done. So, starting out, it can be done in a minimal amount of people, man hours, until, things build up.
And I apologize, I'm just trying to grasp all this. So is the DOD looking to not hire temporary employees that they used to have? Because I personally, I was one, had no retirement benefits, but I was hired to cut grass. So if they do away with that, they're not hiring those employees, they're looking for a locality to contract those out. It takes the liability off the government, it puts it on the locality to manage that contract. What happens if there's a problem with that contract? Who fixes that? Is it the locality or the government?
By entering into a partnership with Town of Bowling Green, that was something that, there's information, it operates very much like a contract. So there would be, there is a disputes clause, termination clause, liability clause, so that would all be worked between 40 people at a time.
Okay.
Right, it would be just like right now with Colorado, they hire, like you say, the contractors out to come work with them to cut the grass. So they're the ones paying you. It would be the same with us. We would have, if we did that, we would have a contractor that would do it, and then they would hire people locally or whoever would come in. And with that contract per se, we use all their equipment. They maintain the equipment, tractors, the motors, they keep the maintenance up on them. All we have to do is provide the people, but that's one of the things we want to take on in this.
The intent really, when we've been exploring this opportunity, is let's try to identify something simple to open the partnership door, and and then hopefully that partnership will grow into other service areas that the town and your contractors make.
Is it possible for you to provide our staff with, like a sister locality, somewhere that's doing it, that we could call and talk to their staff and just say, how's it been for y'all, what are y'all doing, is it a good thing, bad thing?
Yeah, I would say honestly, sir, Fort Polk would probably be the best example. Just
So
because
what
the rural
locality, is it a county or a city, or which locality that you live in?
Vernon Parish is the county.
Vernon Parish?
Yeah, I can send it to Diane, and then you can forward on to the town. Very, very similar rural area.
Do you have anything else? Anybody got any other questions?
Any questions?
All right, hearing none, we will definitely look this over, and thanks for this here. Now, Diane, you said this was just a draft? Okay, this is like an agreement, if you know what it is.
It's called the concept package.
Concept
That's not the agreement.
Okay.
We're working on the transaction document right now for Diane, so you should see that probably within the next week.
And this can take, as I recall, it can take up to a year to just get a contract in place. You know, after it gets all rolling, correct? Am I wrong or right? Didn't y'all say it could take up to a year on this, right?
For this?
Yeah, for a contract to get drawn up?
No?
Oh, where did I hear that from? I thought they said that, didn't
No?
they? They got everything.
No?
But,
No, that, we hope that we could, take care of this relatively quickly,
Mr. Mayor,
going through the
Yes.
formal, process.
I got a question for, is this post-wide for any type of service that y'all need? Trash, grass cutting? I know REC does all the electrical, but I'm just asking, is this post-wide for everything?
Well, right now, what we're exploring with Town of Bowling Green is like general maintenance services. Are you looking at, what are you looking at particular?
Grass cutting, bush
Grass.
hogging, snow plowing, road building,
You want to sign up with us?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I'm all for it, that's why I'm here. I know the environmental people, they want everything brown, so we're kinda looking at that, that's why we're here tonight, so.
Yeah.
I don't wanna know if
The
it was
Garrison
put-
would be open to,
I
I'm sorry.
wanted to know if it was post-wide, or if it's just mainly at the headquarters, or where's it gonna be at?
This would be for the whole installation.
So the whole place.
Maintenance services for the installation.
Okay.
And like I said, that was one of the things they had asked us about, was the grass cutting and bush hogging, but not the mulching, motion side of it.
Well, I mean, anything, snow removal, road building, grading, whatever, stone, lime, fertilizer, any of that.
It's all a possibility.
Well, that's what I wanna do, if it was all, if they were looking for all that.
And I know like
Oh,
for
but
sand and salt, they're looking at the state for doing that, for storing their sand and salt, since we, know where we can do it, so they're looking at the state providing some services for that as well. And what they are, I couldn't tell you, but I just know the sand and salt, so we're talking about.
So I hope I didn't jump in and interject into
No, you're
something
fine.
I shouldn't have, but anyway, I just.
I listened earlier and you made mention you presented this to King George County a couple of weeks ago or recently. Is there a certain plan that you have to go with grass mowing for Bowling Green or something else for King George? Or does it get solicited out through both counties and then it gets presented that way? Or how does that partnership actually work between the two?
Great question. So when we first held our very first site visit, we call them strategic engagements, and we were here, I live locally. We did a site visit at AP Hill back in September, where we invited all community stakeholders. We met with Caroline County, King George, Spotsylvania County, Essex County, Town of Bowling Green, and VDOT. And we laid out all of the potential partnership areas that the garrison was interested in exploring. Now, what we try to do is, we like to try to spread the wealth so that each partnership is unique to be able to provide a service, but ultimately it comes down to capacity and capability. And so with King George, we're exploring Fort AP Hill being able to utilize King George contracts for engineering services.
Very good, thank you.
Right. I don't see anybody else. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mayor.
y'all for coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to, we'll be in further discussions and, some more talking on this issue. Public Works Utility Monthly Report. Do you have any, questions for Josh? Everything okay?
Well, is this the time to ask about like what happened with these breaks today?
I was,
Yeah.
do we have to, there's a, that's just a good condition, we don't have to have an action item on that, because from what Mr. Roy said about the recommendation on the last page, to proceed with mutual beneficial
Oh,
partnership.
you're right, yeah, for us to continue talking with them, yes.
I'm slightly confused because it sounds like they wanna get rid of the employees that I was for 10 years over there, so I've worked in pretty much every department in that installation, and all their grass cutters are government employees that were temporary or permanent. So the permanent staff employees are still there, they said they're not getting rid of them, so that just tells me that they're not hiring temp employees for this seasonal grass cutting, which that was a job that I used to be. So I used to cut a quick cut or drop a bush hog for years over there, so I don't think that we want to be in the contract management business. I mean, they're not here, but it sounds like, yes, there's a lot of red flags on them processing, getting people on and doing that. And I've been there, been laid off for 3 months, waiting on them to get the money appropriated. I mean, they contracted out through a company called Goldbelt Hawk for their trash services. I mean, I worked for ORISE, which was like Colorado State University in Fish and Wildlife Management over there. So I don't understand it. It's like they want to take a step back and give it to the locality. And I feel like we're already overworked and have a very minimal staff to then get into the contract management business. I just have a hard time comprehending what was presented with us now. Thank you.
All right, y'all wanna discuss this later in new business with, given the town consent, go ahead and keep discussing with them until we come up with an agreement? Or do y'all want us to go ahead and keep talking with them? Just let us know right now.
I'm not there, but that's me.
Well, it's also it could be a very good revenue stream for the town, which we don't have any other way of getting the revenues. We can't raise taxes high enough to do it, because people here out of business. Water and sewer rates are already going up. We can't tap into that fund. Our costs are steadily going up everywhere else. So anything we can, obviously, we can try to kind of do to increase our revenue without tacking onto our people is sort of good thing.
I just see a disaster waiting to happen. You said that our contractors would utilize their equipment. I utilized that very same equipment, and they had maintenance personnel on post that were government employees that were there to fix those equipment when it was down. If they've removed those employees, I don't know to what depth they have removed their government employees.
He said they're not removing their government employees, they're still staying there.
Then why would they be coming to the locality to hire contractual aid if they hire grass cutters every year? I know people that work there right now.
Because the grass cutters are being hired through the state Colorado University.
They're not the government GS funded employees that go through a process through Fort Belvoir.
Okay. I can't answer all the questions. All I know is we've been through these, and he says, just like their maintenance people, they will do the servicing on the air conditioning units, they will do the electrical in the building. Until it gets to a certain point, then they have to go out over and above. That's when we would come into play.
And they have a whole
That.
HVAC, I mean, they've got it all. They contracted out with Cutco for handling maintenance that they couldn't. I mean, these are contracts that have been in place for years. So either they've done away with it and they're not telling everything, or I don't understand where the demand's coming from for contract aid. And then they want the town to do the work for it. I mean, maybe I'm the only one seeing it like that.
Well, I'm sure there's more detail that we're not aware of yet. It's pretty early in the process, despite them saying that they would like to go quickly. They were implying it would take a little longer in King George. That said, engineering contracts are certainly different than grounds maintenance. I can't say that I'm for or against the thing right now. I do know that the next step is where they're supposed to work with staff to define more parameters. We may very quickly, see that, staff will come back and say that, we don't possibly have the time to do this, which, that would give us a bit of an answer on the direction we should take at that point. But I'm for exploring it, but I am not sure about the feasibility of it right now.
Well, I'd be very curious to talk to somebody, talk to a Bowling Green in Louisiana, whatever the name of it is, and just say, hey guys, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? Because, how new is it? I mean, is this brand new, how long is Fort Polk?
No, I don't know, he said he was doing it for 10 years, and how long Fort Polk has done, I don't know, he's told me, I think it's a Fort Benning was another one. But they're much bigger locality than we are. But yeah, I think we ought to, let Diane send us the information, and we'll try to get a hold of, and just find out how it does work. That was our concern of ours, and that was one of the things we had, and she, that we wanted to talk to the county.
We had asked that several times. One of my biggest questions was, I wanted a locality the same size, similar to Bowling Green, because I wanted to know how long it would take us to get money. Basically, it's a government sending us our check within 30 days. I found that a little difficult to believe. I don't know who in the government gives you a check in 30 days. One of the biggest challenges I saw for us here is they had given us several different contracts, HVAC, use the grass if you want, different types of them, gutter cleaning. The challenge I see here for us is we don't have staff to do this. We don't have staff to take that contract, go out and get 3 bids, and then say, here's the bids, here's the information, and they look at the bid. If the bid is not of the amount that they need it to be, less than $2,500, then it has to be reevaluated. Again, we don't have staff here to do that. To me, it was like you needed to be a top seller. You needed to be a sales guy. You need to go out there, hit the ground running, and go get your bids, and go, because the more you get in, the more revenue you make. We're not guaranteed 10% because they can pick anywhere from 4 to 10%. That's what they said. So, it's, I don't know. It's an Amway for me. Yeah, I'm kidding.
I think it would be important to point out that, I don't want to speak badly, but I might have wrong information, but, they had stated that they were reevaluating and continuing discussion with Caroline. I had heard that Caroline had said no. Take that for what it is, if you're just hearing that from me.
Caroline said no. Yeah.
Caroline is saying,
All right, not just
right to
for
our
me.
face, no, right to our face, no.
Yep.
Now, if they talking to Caroline about something else, I don't know. I don't know. So we went in and laid it out to Caroline, 3 of us, and Joe Sheet on it, and they said, we don't want nothing to do with it, y'all go ahead and, so fire and rescue, they could do anything with, that they're not already doing for them, and police, they don't have anything that they're not already doing for them.
Yeah, well, the walk away from that is that they just came in here and said that they were continuing discussion with Caroline, not that Caroline said no when we asked them about other localities.
The concept is, it's actually not a bad concept, I get that. I just don't think the town is set to do something like this now. Maybe in the future, I don't know, but right now I don't think we're at that point. But that's my opinion.
I agree with what Valerie says, that their contract process is broken in regards to funding, so they'll hire a contractor across the country to then turn around and sub something out, so that process is broken. But we're talking about vetting contracts. I mean, we're looking at probably NDAs because you're going over to a military installation, background checks. I mean, this is getting, you don't think so? I mean, I know so. I mean, I deal with contract management every day.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we discussed with them in heavily in contract.
So they're gonna handle all the backgrounds, NDAs, everything. We don't do anything.
They said, all right, now they do driver's license scanning. As long as they're able to get on the base, driver's license, they scan it, nothing comes back on it, criminal, anything like that, and then we're good to go. We talked about terrorist training, backgrounding. They said all that can be done away with. As long as they're able to get on the base, everybody in that vehicle, got a driver's license, they scan that license, and nothing comes back, they say we're good,
But
So,
you're supposed to go
but
get it back.
they can still, some of, that's something that they stress that we can work out in the agreement on how we want to vet people, on the base, and how we want to work these contracts out. And if we have to do everyone they send us, we can pick and choose. If we just want to do 2 or 3 different things, we don't do nothing else. Then go find somebody else. But, it's just something that, for us to kind of look at and let's see what else they have to say. Let's get some questions, let's get some answers.
Where are we gonna find the people to do this?
That's why we hired a contractor and we've been to do that.
That's defeating the purpose.
What is, we have no contractor finding people when nobody wants to work anymore?
That's part of their problem too. Cutting, grass cutting, they said they can't get enough people to cut grass in there because nobody wants to do it. So why do we want to do that? And that's one of the things why do we want to take that on now? So, they might as well stay with, Colorado State University. Let them have that headache.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like, AP Hill has decided that's the direction that they're going regardless. And, one of the localities they're gonna participate, but my concern is that just staff, I mean, we have a difficult time getting our numbers together for our budget, and, I'm just saying, we have a lot of stuff to do to catch up, and how do we have time to administer something else? Maybe we will in the future, I don't know. I think it's great to look for revenue streams, but, I just don't understand how we have the time. But at the same time, should we continue and try to see if we can work something out, and then once we have something worked out, if we want to take advantage of it in the future, we can? I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hate to invest a lot of time, but, I know that our staff doesn't have the time schedule right now to do it.
All right, so, you want us to keep talking with them and see what they come up with, and we get hold of, Fort Pope, see what they say, and
Well, I'm with Dan. I don't have time, and I don't think it sounds like our staff. I'd love for somebody to contact a sister locality somewhere and get their impression of it, but, maybe it's something somebody on council would want to take them in.
I'll get the information from Diane and we'll get in contact with them. We'll let y'all know what they say.
Okay.
All right. Police department. Anybody have any questions for the chief? All right, having none. Town treasurer's finance report. You have anything for Allison? Might as well put the town administration in there too, we can do both of them at the same time. All right, hearing none, move on to consent agendas.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can I go back to the Public Works?
Okay, go ahead.
And if, gosh, I'm gonna be embarrassed if it's later in the report, but what did we have today, yesterday, tank-wise, leak-wise, what happened?
So Chase Street was yesterday morning, I got that phone call at like 3:20 in the morning. Today was South Main and a saddle broke over in, Bowling Green Meadows. It's just older pipe. Chase Street's from the 50s, same with, it's in the process of being replaced.
Was it something about the tanks draining or something?
No, the pressure had nothing to do with it. The pressure is normal, it's between 50 and 60 PSI.
Okay. So just regular brakes?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
So I was told differently that the operation could have caused an adverse reaction on the system. Is that incorrect in saying that?
On,
And I was also told that the county offered to provide assistance in regards to operation of draining the water tower, and we did not take them up on that.
so we had a county staff member that used to work here come over and help us, valve-wise and explain, because
But was he there when the actual water was coming out of the ground? Coming out of the tank onto the ground?
So, you talking about draining it?
Yes.
So after it drained down, we found out the valves weren't holding, and that's why it continued to drain the system. So the older valves did not hold, that were supposed to hold, that were told to us by this county staff member, it's not his fault, it's not our fault, they were not holding. So when we started getting calls about low water pressure, everybody showed back up to figure out what was going on.
So my other question, is this maintenance usually conducted during this time season as it is brush fire season? I mean, is there a better time that we could have scheduled that, you know, whether it be winter where there's less of a chance, or maybe a wetter season throughout the year that would have been less of a chance of draining our water supply? Because I've gotten plenty of phone calls about no water, low pressure. I mean, it's been nonstop to me, just because they know I'm on town council, and I'm like, I have no clue, I didn't even know we were draining a water tank or the tower.
And I've gotten the same phone calls, and I mean, it's on the report, I mean, we posted it on, you know, Facebook, we sent out, you know, alerts, so the town doesn't have their own alert system for.
But I'm asking, with the burn ban in effect through February to April, was this the proper time to drain our water system? Or should we have looked for a wetter season to do that?
So,
Or
the
is
town
this done
has
every year in April and I just don't know about
the town has a contract with Southern Corrosion that was set up in 2005, I mean, I have it, so it's every few years, they have it on their schedule to come wash out our tank, paint the tank, do maintenance on the tank, and maintain.
So
tank,
the
so-
draining of the tank was in conjunction with painting.
Yes, they're painting the outside and inside, and so they can't do it in winter because the paint won't cure. So this pretty much is the best time, because as soon as you hit summer, people wanna fill their pools, they wanna, you know, they're watering the lawns, so this pretty much is the best time, because it's the right temperature, and, I mean, so,
Well, is the big aerial tank right now drained?
yes,
And then they're gonna be painting the inside?
yes.
But the ground tank is full?
The ground tank is full just in case of an emergency as a fire or anything else, but it pumps to the tower, so.
I mean, how long is the elevated tank gonna be drained?
Hopefully just 4 weeks, but it just depends on, hopefully, I mean, if the temperature decides to drop below freezing for a long time, you know, here soon, then it's gonna take.
But you said 4 weeks?
Hopefully,
4, okay.
yeah, that's pretty much the minimum. I mean, they'll finish painting, they'll come back and check it, and if it's good to go, we can fill it up, close it back off, grab a sample, and hopefully the sample comes back good, and put it back online, so.
So our other aerial tank up at Farmer Store and then our pressurized tank here is enough to cover us?
Yes.
Okay.
Why is there still problems on low pressure, like our breathing out?
There shouldn't be any more low pressure calls. I mean, if you've got one tonight, then we can check on it, but we've checked pressure at the end of town, that end of town, and it's good, so. I mean, obviously with the brakes and everything, they would have had it, and like I said, on Monday, they had it because the valves were holding and it continued to drain the system, so.
Thank you.
All right,
Mr. Mayor, in hindsight, next time we will make sure that we come to council the month before and notify council of a major maintenance like that.
that's good. Before I get on with consent agendas, it brought to my attention before this meeting started tonight, we had a past council member just passed on. You got the details on that, Gene? I heard you was talking about it. Otis, pass it on.
Yeah.
You wanna tell us about it, or?
David knows more about
All right, David, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Just sorry, David.
I don't know if no, so, Councilman Wright, who, I mean, we need to look up to see how many years he served, but he was on council when I got on in '06, and he was on after I left in '16, so, you know, probably arguably 15, 16 years, he served the town and was very, you know, very active, and, unfortunately, his health just declined faster than I've ever seen, and he passed away, and they're having a memorial service Saturday, day after the mall, at 2 o'clock at the funeral home.
Yes, Councilmember Davis is working on it. Mhm.
Now we move on to consent agendas. We have a large consent agendas. Is there anything you want to take out, since it is a large one, we've got 2 months that we're dealing with here? If not, I'd like to have a motion to take all 6, 7 items in the consent agenda, have a motion to vote on it.
Mr. Mayor, there was one I was looking at, and I can't remember what meeting it was, but it said that you were here, present, and I don't think you were that time.
Okay.
I don't know which one.
I was here January.
Yeah.
So it must have been February. Yeah, must have been February 1.
I know he was here in January, and it's saying he was not present for February, not present for,
I was looking at you, maybe I was thinking you were here in January, but
Okay. Yeah.
I'll stand corrected on that, I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. So being that, do I hear a motion to accept the 7 items on the consent agenda?
I make a motion, Mayor.
I'll second.
We have a second by Jeff. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Hearing none, motion carries. All right, moving on to unfinished business. Application for sewer connection, Gill Mobile Home Park, 14226 Elwood Drive. Take it away, somebody.
I said no.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, Mr. Blaine, who you might recall was here a couple of months ago, is with us by Zoom. And I believe he would like to address council on the request. Thank you. Oh, wait, we need to.
Yes, can everyone hear me? This is Steve Blaine.
Okay.
Yep. I can.
Very good. Yeah, I've had trouble hearing you, but I'll try to speak out. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to council, to provide a little update on the Hill Mobile Home Park. We have started Pump and Haul. The wastewater treatment plant is now
So just for clarification from staff, this mobile home park is in the county, correct?
That's correct.
So are we doing like, so something out in the county occurs, don't they have to contact the county and the county contacts us? Can they operate independently of us?
No, both the county would need to approve it as well as our code says the town council needs to approve any connection outside the town, and inside the town, it's the town manager.
So what is the county, what's the county's position on this?
So what I suggested was normally to go to the county first, but in this particular case, to come to the town council first, simply because the county, because probably the town council would have more concerns about it.
Now, they are on public water right now, on all water, so, which that's another, factor that we need to discuss on.
So, staff along with, Councilmember Boyd, were reviewing the minutes of the meeting where town council approved the water. And there were some conditions that, were clearly approved, in the motion. And the motion said that that there would be one connection that would be 1.5 inches, and that they would pay the minimum fee for every home, and that they would also help pay the cost of running the water and sewer lines. The way it was described was help pay for the cost of the their share of the special tax district, although being that it is a tax that would be imposed outside the town, you'd need to get legal advice on that. So, that being said, we have found a contract that has not been signed. There are other, the connection was made, but the fees, I have a list of the fees that were paid, and it does not appear that we're up to date with fees, as well as, concerns with setting up individual connections. Right now, for the 22 units, maybe 10 are occupied, is what I'm hearing, maybe a few more, but they're paying one minimum bill, which is around $1,000 every 2 months for all 10 plus homes. So, there's some things that need to be corrected. The town attorney is working with their counsel, and so until those get corrected, as much as I sympathize with the problems with the sewer, and I have talked to the county on this, and they're willing to take the pump and haul, and so
So the original agreement was 2016, the winter of 2016? I think,
Early spring.
I believe, yes.
because that was the previous owner of the mobile home park as well, right?
Yes, and I was gonna, kind of summarize, I have had several discussions with Mr. Blaine, and he contacted the former owner. The former owner believes that they paid everything that they were required to pay. I think Mr. Blaine would also tell you that it is his position that what happened with the former owner is separate and apart from what they need now. He is requesting temporary sewer service at the town rate set by the town for 20 units, based upon 4,500 gallons of water usage for each unit, based upon 300 gallons per day per unit. And he says that they wouldn't add any other units. He thinks that for the time being, that would approximately be accurate. The town would pay a one-time connection fee of $15,750, based again on an estimate of 20 mobile homes. The agreement would expire either when permanent service is established or at the latest 24 months from the date of this temporary agreement. And then there's a provision in here for permanent sewer service that Hill will install a permanent underground sewer line and any necessary and related pumps from a holding tank located at the existing sewage treatment plant for Hill Mobile Home Park, owned by Hill, to the nearest manhole in the right-of-way near routes 301 and 608. They have been somehow selected by the EPA, which is unusual. I think they just were randomly selected. And so between this Commonwealth of Virginia and the EPA, they are under quite a bit of pressure. And I think most of these people are not people who have a lot of options in terms of other places to live. Mr. Blaine, do you want to add anything?
Mr. Blaine?
Yeah, I'm not able to hear, Andrea's dropping out on, able to hear her microphone.
All right, hang on.
Mr. Blaine, I summarized the proposal for temporary service and permanent service that you sent. And I kind of summarized our discussions and shared that it was your position that what had gone on with the prior owner of the mobile home park was a separate issue from the current owner, and that that your client is sort of between a rock and a hard place.
If I may, I appreciate that update. The distinction between this is a sewer agreement, so the water agreement that was entered into in 2016, there was a 2-year period at which the prior owner was obligated to pay a stipulated fee, which I think, and also an access fee, which were
current owners, Mr. Blaine, can you hear me? So what are the current owners paying per month or per cycle for water now? Are they, we're billing them, what are they paying, the minimum on, or is it just a meter?
Judy, do you know the number?
They're paying, they pay just whatever they use, and it varies from 1,000 to, I think the highest one I remember is like maybe 1,900 for 2 months.
Because to use other mobile home parks as an example, they're not making any more mobile home parks. I mean, most localities don't allow them. We have several around, I don't know, that, and they're antiquated, but, so he is, Andre, he's proposing a 15,000 one-time availability fee,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then a 1 meter.
Mm-hmm.
And is he saying it's just for 20, or could he add on and do the 50 or 40, whatever the number is, it's room for over there?
The way that the agreement is currently structured, if the number of units went up, I think there would be an adjustment in a connection fee and price. But right now, he's just estimating 20.
That's correct. With each additional unit, and we could establish some kind of monitoring process, but with each unit, there would be an additional connection fee paid to the town, as you would with any new connection.
Mr. Blaine, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, help me work through this problem as an attorney. Next door to you, or across the street from you, someone proposes a subdivision. So you bought a subdivision, it's called a mobile home park. You have X amount of lots. So tell me how legally, if we do this for you, and then someone across the street in the town or in the county says, I'm building, single-family homes, 2,500 square feet each, and I want that same one availability fee and just a meter. How do we do that?
I think I understood the question. I think it goes to the precedent question, which is a good one. These are unique circumstances, and whatever agreement would be unique, as it was in 2016, to these circumstances. And if someone wanted to exploit, and seek utilities outside the town, you could deny it.
So when your company, the company that you represent, when they looked at this opportunity to purchase, you had to have known that the sewer facility was not first rate, correct?
Yeah, I don't know what my client knew, but I think you raised a good point. I'd be speculating, but if they knew what they know today, they probably wouldn't have bought the mobile home park, and it would have, either the current owner, the previous owner would be facing this problem, or as we are facing the potential to shut down of a mobile home park.
Mr. Storr, in terms of your question about sort of setting a precedent, I do think that if a neighboring property requested a similar service, it would have to be evaluated based on our capacity, the feasibility of whatever they were asking us to do. I don't necessarily think that it obligates the council. I mean, politically, I think it would be hard if an identical situation came up and we have the capacity. It might be logically hard to say no, but from a legal standpoint, we would look at the facts of the request, and then council could approve or deny it based on those facts.
I guess if you take the emotion out of it and the so-called emergency out of it, I look at it like years ago, when we were on council, we had a Cherokee group come to us and ask us for a donation for their group. And we did it. And then we caught some flack from another group, and they said, well, that's our tax, that's not your money, that's our money that you just decided to give to a certain group. So, I feel sorry for anybody that's in a jam on not being able to flush the toilet, but, I worry about the precedent, and I want to help everybody, and I was here in 16 when we did that emergency. I remember I swear it was in the winter, because I mean, it was a horrific story, and I felt like we just did what we did. I did not know that that group didn't keep up with their end of the deal and pay, and I hope that we're being paid correctly now on the water, but, I just worry about the precedent of stuff.
Essentially, we've got another situation kind of like, it's single-family homes. We did not collect $1.4 million for Brookwood in connection fees, and we're treating all that sewer. So that's $1.4 million in connection fees of sewer capacity that the town is treating, or will at full capacity, that we're, I guess, writing off. I don't know. And what about, the only one that comes up to my mind is the one up Route 2, is that served by us in regards to sewer, past Farmer Drive on the right-hand side? If so, is that just one meter to count there, or do they have individual connection fees in that mobile home park?
I don't think we provide sewer to,
Maybe just water. So if they were to put in a new mobile home there, would there be a water connection that would be required to that individual facility, or would we just add the capacity? And I understand the situation at hand, but we got a lot of things going on. Water moratorium, we got billing wanting to come in, it's critical that we maintain those connection fees for our citizens. We got USDA grants that we're trying to pay off. We got a lot going on. And to say that we're gonna cancel out on, I think, for 20 connections, I didn't run the numbers, but if you put it at 7,000, that's a rough estimate, you're talking $140,000 in connection fees for 15.
Well, I think your Brookwood example is perfect. We all understand the heartburn that deal we made, and this is another example of it. We're doing it again.
If I may, I appreciate that. Our client is not looking for a gift or a handout. We want this to be a business arrangement, and I would just observe that the town has invested in infrastructure in this corridor with some hope for growth, and frankly, my observation is the growth. I think I looked at the census data from 30 years ago, and the growth has been less than 1%. So you've invested in this infrastructure, you're not getting tap fees. We're prepared to pay connection fees as well as a tap fee. This is not going to put a dent in the future capacity. You're foregoing short-term revenue. This is not intended and not presented as a request for a gift.
I would state that, and I'm not trying to come off rude here, but the fee proposed to us in this agreement for 2 connection fees, and essentially you're getting 18 for free. Maybe if it was 18 paid for, would the town be willing to give 2 extras for free? That may be more of a business transaction, but to say we're gonna connect 20 connections under the cost of 2, that's just, I understand that the growth's not there, but we gotta be smart about it as we move forward. And you're asking us to connect 20 connections worth for the price of 2.
No, sir, we're prepared to pay the connection fees that are called for in the schedule. There is an access fee that's based upon your meter, and I took the proposed payment off of the schedule for a 1.5-inch meter, and that's what we propose.
So what is so we're not talking water and sewer availability, we're talking sewer. What is the out-of-town rate for just the sewer availability fee?
I think it's
the same as in town, so 6,000 availability fee, and then there's a 750 connection fee. And then there's like 35 for inspection, and then they come and set up the account, and that's a deposit and things like that. So basically it's,
But Josh, it's an inch and a half meter, not like 5/8.
so inch and a half meter, yeah, it is gonna be more. So if it was just one, like it was just one property, like say it was a restaurant or something, they had an inch and a half, then I think it's around 13,000 for the connection. Yeah, I'd have to look at it, but I think it's around that, and I think that's where he got that number from, was the availability fee for that plus the connection fee.
So what is he proposing to pay, Mr. Blake?
Yeah, we're proposing the availability fee based upon the 1.5 inch meter, like this was a restaurant or an apartment building with a single meter, and not based upon how many people live there. That's recouped through the actual usage, which you're entitled to charge, in my opinion, you're entitled to charge non-town residents a higher fee for usage than you do town residents, and we're prepared to pay that.
So the rates are in town and out of town, so that's already going on.
Yeah.
All the apartments
And
and
you have the
housing
ability
have
to,
individual.
increase that over time to reflect your capital recoupment and costs. So we're subject to that.
I don't think we would make a new connection to an apartment building with 1.5 inch meter though.
Staff is printing a copy of the MOU for you right now.
Yeah, I'm all for providing water and sewer out there. I happened to be on town council when we voted the last time, and I was not in favor of the way it was handled. I know it was an emergency situation. I felt like that every trailer unit that happened to be out there should have paid a water availability fee and have a 5/8 inch meter. I thought that's how it should be handled, and we didn't. We made, we allowed them to put that 1.5 inches, and now, it's almost set a precedent in some regard. I see that as a for-profit business, somebody invested in that, looking at, the return. And they have to spend a lot of money to put in a wastewater treatment plant, private. And I think that they should be paying water and sewer availability fees, bring them up to the current standard. And I do find it funny that, Allison, are we saying that the previous owner did not adhere to the agreement?
That's correct. I actually pulled every payment that came from that site. And so it appears from an application that, and I think that our attorney was under the impression that they paid for installation $7,500 and connection of the 1.5 inch water line, $7,500. Availability fee for 1.5 inch meter, $19,000. Connection fee, $750, and 1 year access fee, $2,809. When in fact, the payments that have been received are on like $2,378, $150 for a deposit, $1,356, and $1,921. That is the only record I have for payments from that site.
Okay, on that, this was a grant from the EDA, and they paid all the connection fees and everything through that grant, so he should not have paid nothing. So maybe those are checks on that special tax districts. I know he was supposed to pay a couple of years on that as a part of the agreement of having it done, because we couldn't mandate him to do it because he was in the county. But the grant paid for all that, because when they did that, they put the water into New Yorker, and we paid nothing. Everything was taken care of by the grant.
If if we, you know, if we were to work out something, how do we ensure that, the agreement would be adhered to? Is there escrow money that we could hold? Is there, I mean, how do we deal with all of that? And then I just have a little heartburn personally. I mean, I own property out in the special tax district. I've been paying the special tax. I would love to develop, and we, you know, haven't had the ability to do that because of water and sewer concerns. So I don't see this for-profit area being any different than what I own and what I'm trying to do. So I just,
This,
if they want to
I'd just
everything
like to
up to date,
say
that's just how I feel.
that this occurred with a full staff who were all trained and I just, it's just a little overwhelming to, when this didn't even go right, it's a little overwhelming to think about
That was also
doing
when we did
this.
the changeover, when Masson left, the town manager coming in, so when all that transpired as well.
Well, so, why did we shut them off? If they hadn't paid, why didn't we cut them off?
I asked that. So I don't,
Like, if I do that, I used to get a little door hanger, and that would embarrass me, I come pay it, but if I didn't pay that.
so actually, that is the point that I'm at right now in discussions with the town attorney, is what to do. And that is exactly my question, that was my question yesterday. What can we do? How are we gonna resolve this water issue, let alone the sewer?
Is this new entity, are they paying the bill, their bill?
Well, it shouldn't be.
No.
Yeah, I think there's something, I think we can agree to one thing, and that is that the town records regarding previous payments for water service are disarray and unreliable. The previous owner has said that, and if he has pay information, that they upheld the agreement. The agreement was entered into in 2016. If there had been a default in the agreement, one would have expected the town would have taken some action before 2023, when we have a new owner who is paying all the invoices, all the fees that they owe for water service. And you're talking about disconnecting their water? The proposal was about the sewer agreement. And I don't know why we're looking back at a theoretical default under a water agreement that expired in 2018.
I don't.
If it makes sense for the council to issue a list of questions to the town manager and their council before it can reach a decision, that probably is where we are tonight, but it's not prudent for either party to try and negotiate in this setting, particularly when you have these good questions. And it would be prudent, and in my experience in 35 years of being involved in local government, for the town manager to make a proposal and a recommendation. And perhaps that's where we are.
Mr. Blaine, when did y'all purchase it, the date? Mr. Blaine?
Mr. Bland,
Yes, sir.
when did y'all purchase the property?
I believe it was in 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the fall of 2021.
I understand everybody going around and around with the water and the way things should have been and this and that, but I think what we're trying to get across is that it doesn't seem like everything was followed as ordered as it should be, and I think they wanna make sure that everything follows the way it should be from here on out. And I think that's what they're concerned about as far as going back on the water and also to deal with the sewer.
I'm sensitive to that, and I think all we can do today is, control what goes forward. And if
Right.
my client enters into agreement with the town and doesn't uphold the agreement, then you should have whatever remedies are in the agreement. I agree with that.
Throughout my
Is there
career,
another
I have
video
gone back
going-
many times to look at what motions are. And then to uphold the motions that the governing body has issued. And my concern when I see this motion is that what the governing body said was to happen didn't happen. And I think that there's fault all the way around, and I really, that's beside the point. I'm trying to resolve this. And until this gets resolved, I'm very concerned about moving forward with yet another agreement. I
Right.
understand it's water and sewer, but
Right, and that's what I was saying, they're trying to right the wrong. Going back, what was done, what hasn't been done, what was supposed to have been done, how can we do now to fix it? You're right. We have to visit the past, if it wasn't done right, we're losing out from what the governing body back then voted on.
yeah,
And
they were very
so
clear.
We need to write it, and you're right, I'm one of the property owners out there too, that's eating that special tax every year, and not seeing any development come in there, and I'm not saying this is a development, but it is a part of, where they do have our water and our sewers right there, just right the wrong, and, let's, not to repeat the past.
And right now I'm working it out with the town attorney, so.
Yeah, we do not, believe there is, evidence of a wrong. And if there is, it's not the wrong of our client. And, don't understand what wrong we're trying to right. If there is a misunderstanding about what it used to be, let's clear it up. But, we're prepared to pay, the rates that the town has established according to its schedule. And we're prepared to pay for capacity that's not being used. I don't understand the policy, impediment here.
Mr. Blaine, can I ask you one other question? And I might have asked it if you were at the meeting in February. The 20 units that are there now, how many of those mobile homes do you all own? And how many do you just own the pad site?
Yeah, I may not have that exactly at my fingertips, but I believe the majority of those are owned by the tenant. So the tenant pays for the land on which the mobile home sits.
So do y'all have any type of proposed, like, not architectural, and I'm very sensitive to affordable housing, but I've also been to Florida and seen mobile home parks that are beautiful. Some of the units in your mobile home park are not beautiful. How can we, we want to improve the look of the town. It's the entrance to the town right there when you drive by that.
We are in total agreement with that. We want to completely upgrade the mobile home park, and it needs a lot of improvement. But it's not capital that's going to go in if we can't have utilities there. If the utilities are impractical. I don't know if that responds to your question, but the mobile home park has a lot of room for improvement.
And tell me one more time, I asked last time, what's the maximum you could put there if you could?
The maximum under the zoning is 56 units. I don't believe there was ever that many. was approved in a special use permit. So we could not exceed that number of units.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
In any agreement with the town, we could put a ceiling like that we could not add units above what's currently permitted.
And does your company that you represent, do they own other mobile home parks elsewhere?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Does the company that you represent, do they own other mobile home parks, other places?
Yes, they do.
How many?
I don't know the precise number. I can get that for you though. But they own mobile home parks throughout the country. They own 3 in Virginia. They own 1 in Louisa County as well.
Thank you.
Council,
I can get that information for you though.
I'm sitting here and I just want to be fair about this and as honest as possible, and I think that we just need to clear up some things. I'm not saying that, I really don't know where the fault lies or anything like that. I just want to clear up the payments and just make sure that the town receives what it is that they voted on. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, the town has to receive what was in the agreement. There's a contract. I was not provided with a signed contract, but there was presumably a signed contract. So that when you're dealing with third parties, you deal in contracts, and that controls the obligations and the rights of the parties.
Anything else? All right. We will take this into consideration. Any other information you would like to present us, do that through the attorney or town manager. And we appreciate you speaking with us tonight.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Y'all want to move on to 14?
I got, it was, transaction date was 9/2/21 for the new owner.
Okay. All right.
And I apologize, but is there another video going on in here? Because I've heard it for a while.
Yeah, there's something playing in here.
I thought it was him.
It was him echoing back through our own speakers.
No,
No,
you're sitting over here.
I believe there's something else going on over here.
Yeah.
I don't hear nothing.
I heard like a low
Definitely.
frequency rumble.
There was like something like a TV show or something playing.
I thought that was just on his
He had a dog.
Yeah, I heard one time, like big, might be as big as yours, Andrea.
What?
A dog park down there, might be as big as yours.
I know, right? I think he's got my legal secretary. She's
All right.
two-topping me.
Okay, moving on to approval of use of coronavirus's funds.
So what are we just gonna table this until we get some more information back, or what else are we waiting on?
Leave some of this, let's see, yeah, we're just have to move it on to old business. Again,
Unless
Why do we
wants to
have to
make a
keep
motion.
moving it on?
because
I
we
mean,
don't have all
the thing is, you're looking at, he's wanting to put in 56 units, and he's wanting to pay one connection fee of $15,750. Well, if we're supposed to get that for each unit for anything we put out in Lakewood or anything in Fairmont, 56 units is $882,000 that the town would get. Now, you tell me that he's gonna put a sewer system in out there for $882,000, he's not gonna do it. He needs to pay the connection fee for every mobile home park. I'm gonna stand by that, and I'll vote it down every time, because I don't think we should provide for it anymore. That's it, that's my opinion. I mean, we're going around and around and around about this. They didn't pay their bill, they're not current with their bill right now.
But he's
Why
not
do
the
we
one.
wanna give them more?
He's not the one that went into that agreement. They're totally
Well, but the
somebody
thing is they're trying to do an agreement now where they wanna build 56 units and they only wanna pay one connection fee. That ain't fair to anybody in this town.
I hadn't heard anything about 56 units, and you can put a
Yeah,
He just
we
said
put-
56 units.
No, he said that's how many they can put, that can be held.
But he, when he was at the meeting, they were talking about that
All
many.
you gotta do is say, no, we're not giving you the water. We already got moratoriums,
We're
we're
not
not
gonna give
giving
them the
water.
sewer either.
And none of that is planted for the water. That water was put in there for the existing homes that was in there.
I know, but it was an emergency temporary thing, and I understand that. But the thing is, it goes back here. Didn't you just say that the current people are not current on their water bill right now either?
They're not current on their water.
All right, so what makes us think they're gonna stay current on their sewer bill?
They're not current, but I don't think they were billed properly by our town, so I.
Well, I think you're right, I think there's two separate issues here, and it's just not this staff, it's not the last staff.
No,
It goes back to the nineties, when we entered into the agreement with the county on that force main that's now supplying Brookwood. It's shame on us, because we didn't do the audit every year and bill
But
correctly.
now we need to stop that though, Dave.
Absolutely, no, I'm
And I
not
mean,
saying.
and Mark, and I know, you're paying taxes out there because we put that system out there. The Webbs are paying it, Mike Mans is paying it, everybody that's in that corridor is paying it. But it's not gonna be fair for them, for their connection fees for each house. I mean, a mobile home, I don't care, it's still a home, and it's a single family home. So a single family home over here on this side that's not in the town, and we got property that we're trying to develop out there, and we won't because of the water and all that stuff until we get to take care of it. When we do, they've gotta pay every connection fee for every single family home. So why do they get away, why does the mobile home park get away with just one connection fee for, okay, just say 30 homes, and Mike Mans or the Webbs can't, they gotta pay it for everyone? I don't get that, and I can't agree with that.
Well, there's two separate issues, and one is, we've made mistakes as a locality, we haven't done right for a long time on billing, and so, it's gonna happen, we need to learn from it, right? So we don't need to keep making mistakes. The separate issue is, this is a national company that came in here, it wasn't a me and Arthur going in here, let's buy this thing and hope it works out. It's a for-profit, and I'm telling you, they're gonna take it to 56, no doubt about it. So, I'm not in favor of it tonight, I'm not in favor, because the precedent that it sets, I think it's against our rules, and it's separate and apart than building. We need to get straight, we need to learn from our mistakes and get straight on that kind of stuff. But this is separate and apart. This is doing something that's, I don't think we should be doing, because if we're not gonna do it for everybody, I don't know how we can look at some other developer that comes here in town or out of town and asks for this freebie. They're trying to make this, I feel like, these poor people, they're gonna be homeless if we don't help them. I feel for them, but this is a national company that's come in, they knew what they were getting into. If they didn't crunch the numbers, then shame on them.
Yeah.
If they didn't look at the sewer fiasco, shame on them. And I'd like to bend over backwards to help people and be can-do, knees bent. But this is a precedent I don't think we want to set.
We already helped them one time.
Exactly.
We as a locality
I'm not
don't know what
for it
they're even charging for water right now. They could be upping it internally more than what they're paying us. I mean, we don't know that. And with that metering that's in place right now, it's very.
And I mean, he
liable
said,
to be
I heard him say, this is a win-win situation for him and a benefit for us because we get some money. We get $15,000 or whatever this contract is for the connection fee. We get $15,000 one time, but they get all this service that we're gonna give them.
All right, well, we supposed to do a motion on this tonight, so what do you wanna do?
I make a motion, we deny the whole thing.
So I got a
I'll
motion to
second.
deny, do I have a second?
Second.
By Arthur, okay. We'll do a roll call. Gene?
How do you do this? I do not wanna do it.
All right, so either they say yes, for I don't wanna do it, or
Yes.
no, that you wanna do it, so yes.
I do not wanna do it.
All right, we got a yes, Jeff,
Aye.
okay, Dan,
Aye.
Valerie?
No, I don't wanna do it.
No, so you wanna say yes, because it's.
Okay, you're listening to
All
me.
right, so that's a yes, David?
Jesus Christ, this is gonna do
Aye.
Okay. Randy?
Aye or yes, however you wanna look at it, I don't wanna do it.
All right, motion carries 100%. We turned it down. We will not authorize them to have sewer. They'll have to get their own plant going. We need to relay that to them. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next we're coming up to the approval of the use of coronavirus, and make sure I'm right here. I'm gonna move my sheet on
Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think everyone has seen our ballroom and the ceiling of the ballroom. The situation continues to get worse with the, whatever is on that ceiling.
Is the roof leaking?
I don't know, but it's almost a brand new roof.
It's a new roof.
So, so what I'd like is approval by council to move forward to fix either the ceiling tiles or to remove the ceiling tiles and take it back to visually what the building looked like historically, which was the exposed beams and the roof line and maybe some acoustic paneling. Either way, I know it's probably less expensive to just replace the ceiling tiles, also some new lighting. We charge a lot of money for our ballroom, and I think that it would be beneficial and you would actually have more people renting it if we had those improvements. So that's my request.
Will this be in the old USO building from back in the day? Is it considered a historical property? Is it registered to the Historic Society? Is there any money, free money, to help us do, besides using what we've got for COVID funds, is there any free money that the historical, well, they are historical, but the Historical Society would provide to help places like this?
No, usually there's not that. Usually they do it by tax credits, and of course we don't have that. So we do have COVID money though.
Yeah. Actually, I sent you a whole bunch of pictures of what the building looked like from the 1940s. Wayne Brooks sent them to me. So definitely the ceiling needs to be fixed. My question though is, will we need remediation? Because it does look like black mold, so we don't know, once you remove the tile, how far it has spanned underneath the tiles.
I just wanna move forward and start working on this problem.
Maybe to move forward the right way is to get a couple estimates and have them look at it and then report back to us with estimates so we know what we're dealing with. If it is a mold remediation, what's that gonna cost us? It's gonna cost us a lot for that.
Well, how much corona money do we have?
We have
ARPA funds.
probably, we've only spent it on our software. We probably have about, my guess is around 800,000 left. But I think once you expose those ceiling tiles, I mean, you're gonna have to get a piece of equipment in to get up that high and expose the ceiling tiles, and we do have people renting, not this month. And so once they take them down, then I mean, I guess they could lift them off and look in, but
We had a few places wherever the ceiling tile is damaged the most, water damage or whatever it is, that's where they need to lift those tiles, when they get a scissors lift in here, lift those up and see what they've got above them.
Is there that bar in between the doors that come in there?
No.
The county has a scissor lift. It's actually probably next door, I think.
okay.
But you may be able to, we could probably get that in there with the county, get up there and take a peek before we send a lot of money down there.
Gotta be careful with that floor.
Have to take some, yeah, depends on how heavy it is. It shouldn't be that heavy. You gotta get up the stairs, gotta come up the stairs somehow.
Well, I'm all for taking it back to those wooden eaves. I mean, it would be beautiful. My question is, is there insulation on the top of those ceiling tiles? And then if that damage is old, you know, fine, but if it's, if we're leaking, we gotta fix that too. But I'm all for getting a contractor in here and giving us a price. I think it'd be, make it gorgeous, because I've seen some of the pictures and, yeah, I mean, it wasn't real heavy hewn beams, but it was attractive, yes.
Make sure you include a lot more lighting than what's in there.
And more lighting. But also, the floor is, the contractor who worked on the floor, it was before I got here, and they said that you couldn't do any more sanding on it. So we continue to clean the floor, and we haven't finished it in any way because we can't. And so it would be hard, it would be sad, in my opinion, for the floor to be ruined and have to be removed. So even if we covered the floor, at least everyone knows that the original floor is intact underneath. So the floor is another issue that, and then we have a floor issue in between some offices where it's getting worse and worse, and it's really giving as people walk through. So, I mean, it's really starting to,
Is it rotted
we
on
might fall through. Yes, it's rotted.
Can we direct our Director of Public Works to get some bids on all this stuff? And can we use that money for this kind of stuff?
Yes, if you just let me move forward, I will bring back to every meeting a progress report. And you can stop it.
Can I just make a motion that we move forward with this?
Thank you.
I second that.
Second it.
I second it.
Second by, who's Gene?
I don't care whoever.
Everybody?
Can I just ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
So in regards to the flooring, what kind of flooring will we replace it with?
Whatever, I don't know
Because
yet.
I thought there was one more sanding possible, but okay.
No, they said no more sandings, no.
All right. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to let Allison proceed on with checking into the town hall renovations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, motion carries 100%. Moving on.
Well, I should have probably asked in there, but is there a cap on price?
Well, we didn't say we were spending the money yet, we just said.
Yeah, I
We can
can't
bring back
spend
this.
anything unless
I'm trying.
anything over 5,000 I have to bring back to you.
Just check, I got it.
All right, Josh, this is your time to be on. UV lights. Thank you for coming back. I know we had asked you in the past for quotes on this, and I see you come up with it, or with a quote other than what you had.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, Trojan and Xylem, I mean, that's it. I mean, in pretty much the United States as far as UV disinfection. As far as the two companies, I mean, those are the two quotes I could get. So I apologize I couldn't get, 3 or 4 or any more. The only thing I do want to add as far as like the quote for the Trojan system, I mean, there would be an installation cost for both of them. The Trojan system is not to exceed 5,000, just depending on, we pull the old system out, and there's wiring issues, and then just the cost of the electrician to come help, install it. And then for the Wadeco system, which is also Xylem, it's already more than the other systems. So I mean, I would recommend the Trojan system, but it's all, what y'all would want to do or prefer. What I'm asking for is to use, I mean, I know I wrote ARPA funds, I think they call it something different now. It's state and local fiscal relief funds. They changed the name of it. So I'm requesting.
Two different things.
One.
ARPA funds are totally different from, you talking about infrastructure funds?
No, so they actually changed the name. It was American Rescue Plan, whatever, but then they changed it to state and local fiscal relief funds. The other coronavirus fund, that was something different before. Yeah, that was, but they called it the American Rescue Plan Act or whatever, and then renamed it. But so it's the same, those funds. So I'm requesting that I guess whichever one you use, but whichever one y'all pick, I'm just requesting that the funds you know, to replace the UV system, sorry.
The Trojan system's what we already got in there, right?
Yeah, so the
Is
current.
that why the bid is cheaper, because they're replacing bulbs in a system that we already have?
No, so it's a whole brand new system, both of them are brand new systems, they're less expensive. So as far as the Xylem system, that's for the equipment, this is just for the equipment. Now, the Trojan system, I will say, will fit right back into where it is. The Xylem system's probably not, so the cost is gonna go.
We're gonna have to retrofit stuff.
Yeah, and again, I apologize, I didn't move further with the Xylem system because the Trojan system is less expensive and, fits right back into the current system that we have, in place, because it is a Trojan system.
So this, our current UV, that's the light at the very end, last thing it goes through before discharge, it's not working?
It's working, but not per manufacturer specs, so the control panel for it has been dead, it was dead before I got here, and they hooked up two, UV intensity sensors to each bank of lights. And DQ's mentioned it, and part of the permit is maintaining, the equipment, you know, as per, you know, operation, manual. And so technically, it's not, I mean, it is working, it is disinfecting, we're meeting permit, but it's not per the manufacturer specs, it's not per the O&M manual.
Okay, so this is not a part of the budget process for FY next year. This is something you're asking to do right now. Where would the money come from?
The relief funds, the coronavirus funds, the same funds that, we would use to redo the ballroom.
And that's allowed? I mean, we can spend it on that?
Yeah, you can use it on infrastructure, yes, it's infrastructure as far as like, it could be water, sewer, broadband, you could also use,
So where is that $800,000 right now setting? They give it to us as we spend it, or is it, do we have it?
No, we have it. We have it.
And it's sitting in our checking account?
Yes, it is. We have a little over $3 million in our checking account.
And that 800,000 is probably a part of the three.
Is part of that.
Got it.
So how big is the pot of funds for infrastructure that we're pulling out of?
So, what the town decide, like, you would all vote on what you would wanna spend it on, so if you voted to spend it all on town hall improvements, then that's what you would, it's not
So
that.
how much do we have, three?
Is that 800,000?
Yes,
One
they
cent.
understand.
What's the 3 million?
That's what's in the bank account.
Oh, okay. I
Latitude.
understand.
Plus or minus a penny or two. All right, you got any questions for Josh, other than this?
So Josh, out of each of these, since $23,000 is a big difference between the two of them, and you had a Trojan in the past, would you have a preference over which one of these?
I would recommend going back with the Trojan system because I mean, if you go to any wastewater plant that has UV disinfection, 80 to 90% of the time it's gonna be a Trojan system. I mean, there will be, Xylem systems out there, but they're like the industry leader in the United States as far as that.
And the Trojan system will go back to the 73,000 we quoted a year and a half ago?
No,
Something asked.
on,
Can we get the 73,000 they quoted us a year and a half ago? Or is that,
no, that's the current pricing.
oh, just, I don't ask. $1 a dollar.
And Josh, I mean, there's no way to retrofit the old system. I mean,
On,
the Trojan, I mean, it's there, it's working right now, no, it's not based on O&M, but I mean, there's no way to,
so when I had a representative, the distributor for the Trojan system, he basically, when he looked at the panel, he said it would pretty much cost almost the same amount of the brand new system. And they don't make those parts anymore, so if it goes out, or if you're trying to find parts, that's gonna be the other issue.
understood.
As far as that, and, The only reason why I bring it up as far as just to start, because we didn't move forward with the upgrades to the system in town and the upgrades at the plant. So it was just one of those things that's 31 years old. I mean, it was installed in 1992, 1901, just like the rest of the plant. So it's past its life expectancy, and just making sure I bring things to your attention and just trying to start somewhere, because I mean, there's a lot of more work at the plant that needs to be done. There's a lot of work in the system that needs to be done. So just trying to make everyone aware, keep everybody, so, I mean.
I make a motion that we move forward with the Trojan system.
Second.
All right, I got a motion, I got a second.
I got a few questions.
Got some discussions?
Yes. One goes into, is this, ANSI CAN MSF rated, I guess I would say, on this system? Or also, is there any requirements on behalf of DEQ if we change this, that we have to change other parameters at our plant with this upgrade?
As far as, like,
Just anything, like, because I've been in meetings, and told that if we change certain things at our plant, we have to come up to newer standards across the board. So that this does not impact that, correct?
no, you would still have the same disinfection requirements, you would still have the same permit limits. As far as changing the plant, it is, if you, like, increase capacity, that's the change they're talking about. As far as replacing equipment that doesn't work, that doesn't change your permit. It's only if you're increasing capacity or, expanding basically, then it would change your permit.
With Brookwood going on farther, more homes, will that still handle it? What, the new system, will it handle everything that's gonna come in from Brookwood?
As far as the Trojan system, if the plant isn't expanded, then this will meet the limits. Now, as far as expanding the plant, you would have to do more work, which would involve expanding the plant and then changing to a different system to meet those new permit requirements. So it's just, I guess if there's plans to add a lot more, then it would be to, expand the plant, and then it would end up being a whole different cost, so.
All right, anybody else?
So is this a UV reactor? Is that what it's classified as, or is it just a light bulb? I mean, that's what I'm trying to comprehend here. I just got one piece of paper on the Trojan system.
It's a UV disinfection system, so there's 2 banks of lights, each bank has 16 lights, so it's a UV light that disinfects the water. It's a system, so it's not, it's a flow-through channel. The lights sit in the channel, and as the water passes by, they're disinfected with the ultraviolet light.
Okay.
All right, anybody else? All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Arthur? We got 6 right now, waiting on 1.
Yeah, I'll,
We got 7, okay.
well, I was gonna say I'll
Oh.
say nay on this one.
Okay, all right, got 6 yeses and 1 nay. All right, thank you, motion carries. All right, next is item 16, appointment of interim town treasurer. Allison?
Mr. Mayor, I'm requesting to move this item down to after closed session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have any problem with that? Okay, we'll move it down. All right, approval to set up joint planning town council work session for future land use. What do we know on that?
Mr. Mayor, the planning commission has been asking for a joint meeting, and they are starting to work on their comprehensive plan, as well as I've had some discussions with with our developers, who are waiting to come back with proposals, so, I think that, a work session on future land use, is an idea for us to talk about what the town council would like to see and the planning commission would like to see as, for future growth for the town, to give some guidelines for the staff and for developers and to move to talk it through.
Do you have any ideas?
I was originally hoping for March, but that didn't happen, and now I'm working on the budget, so maybe in May. I think that the town council will also need to have a work session, a separate work session on the budget possibly, so I don't want to fill your schedules up too much, so if possible, can I come back with, or send out information on some potential dates?
That sounds all right with me, how about y'all?
All right, good. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, moving on to informational items. Provisions of funds by town council for Porta-John in lieu of farmers paying fees for participating in the farmers market.
So, Mr. Mayor and Council, I did provide your generous offer to pay for, the town to pay for a Porta-John, so that the farmers would not have to pay any of their personal funds to participate in the farmers market. And that offer was denied. So I did make sure they understood that that the cost of the farmers, the payment the farmers make, I believe it's $50 at the beginning of the season. It seemed like it would just simply offset that, but it was turned down, so.
Why? Did they give a reason why?
They said that first they said there were other costs that they had, and I said, well, tell me your other costs, and I will be happy to go back to council and ask for anything additional that you might need. Given that the town council seemed in great support of, and wanting to support the farmers market. And then I was told, no, that they weren't going to do that, and that they were going to have to turn down the offer. When I got my calculator out and calculated that, in fact, when I asked them how many farmers they had, and they said, they're hoping to get 10 or 11 and even more, and so I calculated if they had 20 farmers, and that it would absolutely just balance out the cost of a Porta-John, that then there was still they still rejected the offer, even though the $50.
So what was the, so we were willing to do the Porta-John we paid for it if they stopped charging the farmers?
Yes, so the offer was that if the farmers weren't charged to participate, that then the town would pay, instead of the farmers paying, the town would pay for the Porta-John. And
But so help me understand, the $50, is that a one-time to be there for the season?
I was told last year that it was $50 one time at the beginning of the season.
Which has got to be the cheapest farmer's market around, I would suspect. What, do they have like insurance?
Yes, that was part of the reason I heard that, because they still had to pay the insurance.
Because I remember they used to have insurance back in the day when they first started.
Right.
And
So
I'm sure they do have some other little marketing expenses. I just, why did we make it contingent? Because I mean, if I could see if we were gonna collect the 50, that would be a wash, but why would we take the revenue stream away from them?
Because all they were doing was paying for the porta-john. And so it was, if they were just taking money from the farmers and paying for a porta-john with that money, then it just seemed like a nice gesture to our farmers to not have to pay to participate. And maybe it would get more farmers to come and participate.
Well, one thing I don't understand is, I had two of the people that are heading this up come to me and were asking just for us to pay half of the porta-john, and we offered to pay it all, and they refused it. I don't get the reason, but I just want everybody to know, they asked me just for town council to approve half of the bill of the porta-john. And we went out and voted, we'll pay for the whole thing, and now it's denied. I don't know, I just think that's, I
And
won't
they
tell you
asked,
what I think.
they said that they had wanted to be put onto the agenda, and I said I would be happy to put you onto this agenda, and then that was also turned down.
Well, so at this last work session, which I wasn't at last month,
There's a
Did-
motion?
did we,
Is that-
is that when we decided to either get the porta potty or you collect your fees? Is that?
Yes, that's when we decided to do that. We'd give them a porta-john, and then, but they wouldn't collect the fees because when it was first presented to us, it was, the $50 was to pay for the porta-john.
So they've always had a porta potty out there?
Yes, and they've
Yes.
always paid it.
And Councilmember Davis lets them put it on her property.
So I think that, I just look at the farmer's market as being a great little draw on Saturdays for people to come to town. And I look at the volunteers that, I remember when that thing started. And we were excited about it, and they were just an integral group, an arm of council, and they were like our family, they were doing this project. So I wish I'd have been here. I would not have said to either, don't collect, because I'm sure they've got some other expenses.
And I asked them if I'd be happy to bring those expenses to council for consideration.
So the farmer's market is not a part of the town anymore, they run it exclusively on their own, just.
Thank goodness, right? I think it's wonderful to empower these people, get them started. Now, you don't want groups going rogue and doing crazy stuff, but I almost wonder out loud, are we doing more to hurt morale by doing this to them than it's really, so what is it, 6 months, we have $120,
A
$700?
little more than 6 months, like 8 months or so.
So $800.
But we were gonna keep the porta-john, I think, the whole year for other purposes too. If we provided it, we were gonna have it for, we could use it for the Harvest Festival or whatever other events were going on in town. We were gonna keep it for the full 12 months, is that not correct?
I believe so, yes, if we can do that. And the offer's still open, I'd be happy to, or put them on the agenda or bring whatever costs, if it's, I was told that there might be some signs, like $300 maybe more for signs or something.
Allison, is the insurance they pay for, is that for the bank property that they're on? What insurance would they?
I don't know, we're not involved in that.
I'm just trying to figure, I guess
Yeah.
that's part of the challenge here, we're always trying to figure out their need, and they won't tell us their need. So if we don't know that, I find it hard to provide everything that they want if they won't tell us what the need is for. And a lot of the farmers markets around Fredericksburg, I don't even think they charge their vendors to participate. A lot of farmers markets don't charge anyone to participate, so here in our little town, we charge $50 for farmers. I don't know, I think they should be free. They work hard to get everything done, but for me, it's just, I need to see a need, I need to understand what all those expenses are that they don't tell us about, and I just don't understand that.
they were charging 50.
So we,
The people
and just
who-
so I understand, I apologize, cause I showed up a day late to that meeting on Thursday, not Wednesday. If we, the last work session, good laugh around here. So we said, hey, we will pay the full price of the Porta-John if you do not charge your fee,
Correct,
and they said no.
yes.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, okay.
But David, you're saying that they do have some other fees though.
Yeah,
I really hadn't even thought of that when we talked about it. I thought that was their only fee.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember when it started, I know they had, the bank made them get insurance. And so,
liability.
yeah, they had insurance, and I guess they've got some market, I don't know, but, I mean, if, there's never been like 10 farmers there, right? So that's $500 they collect. So, I mean, it's not like they're raking in the money, I can't imagine.
Is that for the season, or is that every week?
I was told it was the season,
Yeah,
It's
so
like-
then that would make sense, but, I mean, then actually if somebody else is paying, because, I mean, if you think it through, it's cost more for the Porta-John than what they're taking in, so the offer was a pretty good offer,
Yeah,
mathematically at least.
I mean, I'm happy to help participate. I mean, I'd be in favor of just doing the Porta-John and let them keep operating the way they operate, but whatever y'all wanna do.
Well, I mean, the town didn't run it, and then they wanted to go separate on their own, so the town allowed them to do it separate on their own. Then they come back, and like I had two of them come to me in the store and said, you know, if you just pay for half of the Porta-John. Well, then I brought it up, and then we decided we're gonna pay for the whole thing, and now they deny it. Yeah, they've got other fees, but they never said nothing about that. They were only asking exclusively me to pay half of the Porta-John, or to help pay part of the Porta-John, because that was their biggest expense. So I don't know, I don't know what to think.
Well, I mean, they were telling you what their need was. They needed you to pay for the Porta-John.
Yeah, so,
You
And
know,
in reality, we voted last week to pay it, but you know, that $50, we said that, you know, they can't collect it. But I mean, if they still need that
Yeah,
for the insurance, I understand it,
Yeah, I
but
didn't
see,
even
none
think
of that
about
was
that
ever
stuff.
presented. It was only presented to me to help cover the Porta-John cost.
Well, I don't know all the people that are involved anymore, because, you know, it was started a long time ago. I know some of the people that are faithful out there, they're all good people. I mean, I don't think they're making money on this thing and going on a cruise. Sometimes, no, I don't mean to be funny, it's just sometimes you run the risk of hurting the feelings of good people out there killing it for the common good, and you can just squelch that good little fire by something as simple as $800, you know, and that's, yeah.
All right, well, I guess, maybe we can find out what their other options, what their other bills are, see what happens, see what they say. I know Cheryl English is digging into it, and that's what I heard from her, that they still had the insurance to pay on it, that's why they had to charge the farmers, but I don't know what all their costs are.
Well, how about this money they collect when they have their thing once a month? They collected money from all of those people too, so they got more than $50 from the,
Who does? No, they're not part of the farmers market. We're just talking about these.
are you sure?
Yes, ma'am. Because that's some type of, farmers, association or something, because they have rules they gotta follow under. Because I know they've been talking about almost being shut down a couple times because of complaints that was made to them, especially back during the COVID time. But no, that's, sure.
Well, who gets that money?
Private enterprise?
The money for, cause I mean, I know they had people over on my property and I wasn't asked.
Oh, you're talking about the flea market? No,
Yes.
they just did that in conjunction with the, farmers market.
Well, that's what you're saying, in conjunction, well, who gets the money?
I guess Cheryl does, because they had to buy insurance for that too.
Okay.
So, you know, because everything's gotta have insurance, and so that's all I've always been told, they had to have insurance for this and insurance for that.
But it's people everywhere, so I mean, $20 time all of these people add that up. And I know that's what they paid because the guy that used to be on council, his wife told me she pays $20. So,
All right, I'm gonna make a motion, and I'm not, I'm not gonna get mad either way. I make a motion that we rethink this, porta potty issue, and that we don't stop them for charging the farmers. And we do the porta potty for the 6 months, to help them out and encourage them, because I think in the end, we don't have the staff like when we started this thing. I think we all agree that it's a good thing, and if we've got volunteers that are willing to do it, I can add up $20 all day long, and it doesn't come out to a lot of money, or $50. So I make a motion that we rethink this, and that we do the porta potty, and we don't put the restriction on them about the charging the farmers.
I'll second.
I got a motion, I got a second by Arthur. All in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
yes,
5, okay.
there you go.
Got 5 to 7, so motion passes.
Thank
I don't know why I raised my hand. Count myself. All right, next, committee reports. I have graciously, or I have asked Dan, excuse me?
Did we do the intern?
No, that's gonna be Steve.
Oh, that's right, you're different. Sorry, Mayor.
That's okay, but, I had asked Dan and Jeff to, head up a committee, and they both graciously, accepted. I asked for a special committee for water conservation, or water consumption, whatever they feel they wanna call it. Consumption? No? Anyhow, it's to come up with ways to help future construction, to lessen the use of water. Like you have tankless water heaters that.
So conservation.
Conservation plan.
Conservation, yeah. To, how we can get future construction to comply with using less water. Okay, to help save us water. So I've asked them to come up with ideas, look into things, and come back with, periodically give us a update. And it's something that we can even use to forward to, if we decide to go with a new water permit, it can be used to go forward with that as well, to show that we are coming up with ways to try to save water. And also, even if there's even ways out there that we can help older homes to become more energy efficient with water, and help them install tankless water heaters, toilets that only use a gallon of water instead of a gallon and a half, or, sinks, that don't use as much water on and off. So I've asked them to do that, so y'all will hear from them from time to time on that. Y'all have anything now you wanna say?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Would we have to adopt or create an ordinance in the locality to try to uphold that? Like, for example, you're saying all new construction in the town has to be equipped with tankless hot water heaters.
Yeah, absolutely, would have to have a new ordinance.
Yes. So this is what, to bring up ideas on what to do, and to give us ideas to make ordinances or whatever we have to, make this get into place.
So, ordinance to require people to get a tankless hot water heater?
I don't think I would wanna go down that road.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just an example that Mark was given. We're not the EPA.
No.
Well, EPA has great conservation plan
Sometimes, yeah.
guidelines.
I want to interject something here. How can you, put stipulations on certain things like that when we still allow people to water their grass and fill their swimming pools and all that other stuff?
Okay, maybe it was a bad example from Mark, but you would go that route first, yes.
No, I'm serious. I mean, I've got people coming in that are aware that there's a water problem in the town of Bowling Green, and they voice it very regularly, but they're buying sprinklers like they're going out of style because it's just so dry, there's no rain for the next 10 days. My lawn's drying, the trees are sucking all the moisture out of the ground, and he's watering his grass. But
Okay, I think that's the reason for the whole thing. Like, if if Dan and I or whoever were to get together and come up with something, it keeps us from having this section where there's confusion and we go back and forth. So later on, if we get some sort of expectation, there would be like a presentation and we'd be skipping all the silly options, and then we'd as a council have a framework to build something on to actually do some reasonable action or inaction.
Basically, conservation isn't just about just.
I mean, if you had everybody in Bowling Green change their home to a quick flush toilet.
You can't do that anyway.
To use 1 gallon, that's only gonna save 1,100 gallons, and you're burning that more with 2 sprinklers in 1 yard in an 8-hour period.
But
How's it
think
running?
that's-
I get what you're
I got
saying.
you, Randy.
I get what you're saying.
You can sit there and tell people they can't water their lawns anymore with the sprinklers too, if you want to. Council can vote that moratorium in.
I know that, but I'm just saying,
Because when you get down on water, what do? You just sit, you sit here with the thumb in your ear and not listen to anybody? No, I'm just saying, this is just a way to try to come up with ways to try to help
And I
with the water
understand that.
situation that we are currently
And
facing.
I understand that.
That's
but-
all it is.
Alright.
You wanna watch it?
No, my car got washed, all the pollen went off.
Mine too. I hope it now.
That's the last time
All right.
I washed, probably all summer.
Is there, a motion?
Well,
Go
we're
ahead.
still doing,
Yes, you can go ahead.
one thing I would like to be added to the agenda for next month is, I'd like for us to be able to discuss this whole water permit and how we were talking about increasing, and I thought that, is Stantec coming, Allison? to-
Stantec is coming next month.
I mean,
Yes,
could we
they'll be
add it to
done.
the agenda, just to kind of talk about that again and see where we stand?
Yes, they will be done, or they said, that you can roll in the last part of the project, the report, into the water withdrawal permit, if you'd rather do that. So,
But we'll talk about all that at the next meeting.
yeah, well, they'll be done with the report by then too, yeah, if you don't want to do anything tonight.
May I ask, before you do that, I didn't know if we, like, under new business, and I don't mean anything by this, I've never meant anything by this to the current staff, because I think all of our issues with not knowing where the money happened before y'all, right? So, from whenever y'all have inherited a mess, but have we, I know you asked me, and I sent you Steve Masters' number, have we engaged anybody to start helping you guys go through the books and saying, here's how we used to do it, here's where that came from?
Yes.
Okay.
Tamika Smith has started working with staff.
Yep.
And we get daily correspondence, and then we meet with her mainly on a weekly basis.
Was
So,
Steve of any help at all, or did you talk to him?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can,
I was mainly thinking he would be good in, since y'all inherited, just like this mobile home park, part of the problem falls on us. And I say us, and I don't mean y'all or y'all. This falls back to 2016, 2017. We obviously didn't stay on top of the building, right? So I was mainly thinking Steve, if he could be helpful. I mean, I don't know that Tamika knows all of these little nuances about they should have been billed this and the old agreement with the county. We really went all through that thing. It needs to be audited every year and changed. So I really would love for you to visit with Steve and get him to help you, in any capacity on the billing stuff, and where we're leaking money, whether it's the special tax district or people's water bills or whatever. I would highly encourage that. And then one other question I had, two other. Does the $800,000 ever expire on spending that COVID?
yes, it does.
When is that?
I think that we need to appropriate the money by 2024, so you have about a year, and
Wow.
then you have to actually spend it by 2026. That's the date that I am really aware of, is 2026, you have to spend all the money by.
Okay, all right, good to know. And then the last thing is, can we think about or talk about It's kind of a crunch for me to get here 5 o'clock and spend 2 hours, and then no break, and then another 2 or 3 hours. Can we, at some point, relook at the work session thing, and maybe not have one every meeting? Because just looking at tonight's work session, good stuff, but we really can't act, we put it off, we talk about it. I'm all for work sessions. We had them back when I was on council before, but they were for specific things. I know y'all did away with the committees, and I'm not saying we reinstitute the committees, but, a lot of the workings that make you more efficient, you do behind the scenes, and then when you come to the meeting, you bring a report, and then we act on it or not. And, committees never can do anything on their own. It has to be brought before council. So I'm not asking you to decide tonight, but, it's tough. I work at 5 o'clock, and, I'm not eating yet either. So can we talk about that maybe at the next meeting and see if we need them every meeting? Because I'm committed, man. I'm in with y'all, whatever you want to do, but it is a little onerous at sometimes. Thank you.
May I just add one thing? I don't think you meant, that there were some excellent staff back then. I think that truly the problem occurred when there was a reduction of staff. And probably the right number was what they had before. And that's depending on what I get for revenues, what I see for revenues in the budget, that's what I'm going to try to propose again, is to bring it back up to what it was in 2020, which ended in 2021.
No, I don't think anyone's, I'm not trying to isolate anybody. I think, and it's the same as any group, the continuity. When you lose continuity, you lose institutional knowledge. If all of Congress was wiped out, we had to replace them. So I think that's where our problem is occurring. It's nobody's fault, and it can be fixed, but you gotta fix it.
Yes, we do, and we just are very behind, and we're also transitioning to a new software, so there's many things going on, yeah.
All right, I hear that we want to go into closed session, so
And I just need to know, we're going to be talking about the interim treasurer, correct? That's the reason?
I don't know. I wasn't privy to that. That's what I've heard, but is there anything else? Because obviously claimed that there was more than just one thing, so. No? Okay. Why'd you laugh at me then, somebody?
Is there a motion to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for the discussion of the appointment of an interim town treasurer and the compensation?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion by Randy, second by David. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, we are now in closed session. I'll take a 5-minute recess.
Is there a motion to reconvene in open session and certify that only the matter that was identified in the motion to go into closed meeting was heard, discussed, or considered?
So moved.
Second.
And if each of you would say, "I so certify."
I so certify.
I so certify.
Certified.
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
All right,
Did we certify?
no, I won't certify. Okay, I'll certify.
Yeah, you
How
said
about
you
that?
certify. Okay, is there a motion? Is there a motion to appoint Patricia Chenault as the interim treasurer for the town of Bowling Green for a period of 90 days, which would end on July the 5th, and to offer a additional sum of $13,000 annually for the additional duties?
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion, okay, by Randy and second by Jeff. And any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move into a roll call. Arthur?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Valerie?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Motion so carries. We have a new interim town manager, treasurer. Welcome aboard. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
We have a motion to
Second.
adjourn. We have a second by Valerie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.